If we're being brutally honest, most men don't actually know how to hug a woman the right way. They think it's just a casual gesture, something quick, forgettable, and routine. A handshake with arms. But the reality is this: a hug can be one of the most powerful ways to spark desire, build emotional tension, and create a sense of connection that lingers long after the moment ends. Here's the controversial truth that most men never consider. A woman can tell exactly what kind of man you are by the way you hold her. She doesn't need a long conversation. She doesn't need hours of time with you. Sometimes, in just a few seconds, she knows. If your hug feels weak, nervous, or empty, she'll sense it instantly. Her body will interpret it as insecurity, and nothing kills attraction faster than insecurity. On the other hand, if your hug carries the right balance of strength, calmness, and intent, she'll feel it just as instantly. Her body will respond before her mind even has time to analyze. That kind of presence makes her want you more without you needing to say a single word. See, attraction isn't built only in the things you say, the jokes you make, or the flashy moves you try to pull. It's built in the subtle, almost invisible moments. It's built in how you carry yourself when you walk into a room, in how you listen instead of trying to impress, and yes, very often, in how you hold her when she's in your arms. Women are deeply wired to respond to body language, energy, and presence. And nothing communicates those three things more clearly than a hug. But here's where the majority of men fail miserably. They either overdo it, coming off as needy, desperate, and suffocating, or they underdo it, giving off weakness and lack of confidence. Both kill attraction on the spot. This is where Stoicism comes into play. A Stoic man doesn't chase validation. He doesn't cling like he's afraid she'll disappear. He holds his ground with calm confidence. That calmness is what makes her feel secure. That security is what makes her open up. And that quiet confidence is exactly what women crave on a deep, instinctive level. When you hug her like a man who's in control of himself and in control of the moment, she feels something most men never give her. The combination of safety, desire, and curiosity. Safe enough to relax, desired enough to feel wanted, and curious enough to wonder more about you after you let go. And here's where this gets interesting. Think back for a second. You've probably had moments where a woman's reaction seemed bigger than the situation. Maybe she smiled longer than you expected, or she stayed close when you thought the interaction was over. Many times, it's because of the energy you carried in those subtle moments. The hug, the eye contact, the silence. If you want to learn exactly how to transform something as simple as a hug into a spark of real attraction, keep watching, because I'm about to break down the 4 principles that change everything. Here's where most men get it wrong. When they hug a woman, they either squeeze too tightly like they're desperate to prove something, or they barely hold on, giving off the vibe of hesitation and insecurity. Both extremes are fatal to attraction. Too tight, and she feels suffocated. Too weak, and she feels neglected. The secret is balance. You hold her like you own the moment, not like you own her. Owning the moment doesn't mean showing dominance or trying to control her. It means you're fully present. Your mind isn't racing with, "What do I say next?" or "Does she like me?" You're not clinging to her like she's the only thing that validates your worth. Instead, you embrace her with calm steadiness, as though you know exactly who you are and why you're there. Your body language communicates something subtle but incredibly powerful. I am grounded. I am centered. I don't need to chase you, but I am glad you're here with me. That shift in energy makes a world of difference. when a woman feels that you're holding her with control, not force. She feels desired, but not dominated. She feels valued, but not suffocated. And women can instantly sense the difference. They don't need to think about it. They just feel it. A man who clings too tightly communicates fear of loss. A man who barely touches communicates weakness. But a man who holds her firmly, calmly, and long enough to let the moment breathe, that's the man she craves. Owning the moment also means you set the rhythm. You don't let nervous energy rush you into pulling away too quickly. And you don't let insecurity trick you into gripping her as if she's property. You control the pace. You let her feel your presence. Imagine this. You're hugging her goodbye after a date. Instead of rushing, instead of holding on like it's your last chance, you simply wrap your arms around her with firm steadiness. You take a breath. You relax your shoulders. You let the hug linger. Not too short, not exaggerated, just long enough to let her body feel that you are calm, composed, and fully there. And when you release, you don't jerk away like you're nervous. You do it slowly, intentionally, like you're in command of the timing. That alone can leave her replaying the moment all night. Because without saying a word, you communicated confidence, presence, and control. This is what Stoicism looks like in practice. A Stoic man doesn't panic when he's close to a woman. He doesn't fumble with insecurity. He doesn't grip like he's drowning. He simply owns the moment with steady energy. That level of self-control is rare, and that's exactly why it's so magnetic. Here's a harsh truth that most men never realize. They ruin the power of a hug by talking too much. When a man feels nervous, silence becomes uncomfortable. So he fills the space with awkward jokes, forced compliments, or words that don't really need to be said. He doesn't even notice that every sentence, every unnecessary laugh, chips away at the intimacy of the moment. But silence, when intentional, is magnetic. Why? Because women don't just listen with their ears, they feel with their bodies. When you're holding her close, she isn't analyzing your choice of words. She's tuned in to your breathing, the steadiness of your frame, the calmness or nervousness radiating from you. If you fidget, chatter nervously, or overcompensate with jokes, she feels your insecurity. But if you hold her in silence, if you let the moment breathe, she feels your confidence. Silence makes her focus on what's really happening. The warmth of your body against hers, the rhythm of your breath, the quiet safety of being in your arms. That's where attraction deepens. Not in the noise, but in the absence of it. Here's the controversial part. Women don't want every moment explained. They don't want you to narrate how you feel or declare your desire every time. Sometimes, they just want to feel your presence without distraction. This is where Stoicism becomes irresistible. A Stoic man isn't afraid of quiet. His silence isn't awkward. It's intentional. It communicates that he's fully in the moment. He doesn't need to constantly seek approval with words. His presence alone says more than a dozen compliments ever could. Think about it. When you say nothing, she's left to feel everything. The steady beat of your heart, the calm rise and fall of your chest, the strength in the way you hold her. That kind of silence creates mystery. It makes her wonder, what's he thinking? What's going through his mind? And that curiosity is what draws her closer. Now imagine this. You've just had a deep conversation with her. The air is still charged with emotions. Instead of filling the silence with corny lines like, "I never want to let you go," or awkward jokes to ease the tension, you simply hug her and say nothing. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's presence. She notices your calm breathing. She feels your steady embrace. And when you finally pull away, she's not thinking about what you said. She's remembering how that quiet confidence made her feel. That's the kind of hug she remembers. That's the kind of man she remembers. Most men underestimate the power of eye contact. They think of it as a small detail, something optional. But in truth, eye contact can transform a hug from something ordinary into something magnetic and unforgettable. Here's the problem. Most guys get it wrong in one of two ways. They either avoid her eyes completely, looking away too quickly, glancing nervously like they're afraid of being caught. Or they go to the opposite extreme, staring too hard, too long, with an intensity that feels forced, even creepy. Both mistakes destroy the moment. What women crave is not fear and not force, but presence. Eye contact, when it's calm and natural, communicates something that words cannot. It says, "I'm comfortable with this closeness. I'm not hiding. I'm not desperate. I'm simply here with you." And here's the key. It's not just about looking. It's about how you look. If your gaze is empty or distracted, she feels disconnected. If it's aggressive or overpowering, she feels uncomfortable. But if it's calm, warm, and steady, if it carries both strength and care, she feels two things at once: safety and desire. And that's exactly the combination that creates attraction. Think about moments in your own life. Have you ever had someone look at you, quietly, steadily, without rushing, and you knew exactly what they were feeling without them saying a word? That's the same effect your eyes can have on her in the intimacy of a hug. Picture this. You pull her close, your arms are steady, and when you release just slightly, you take that 1 second to meet her eyes. Not with arrogance, not with desperation, but with calm, unwavering confidence. In that second, she feels it all: the safety, the intrigue, the quiet magnetism of a man who doesn't flinch in the face of intimacy. Most men crumble here. They can handle surface-level talk, but when things get quiet, when it's personal, when the eyes meet, their composure cracks. They look away, they laugh nervously, they break the tension. And with that, the attraction dissolves. But the man who holds her gaze with ease, he stands out instantly. Because intimacy doesn't scare him. Presence doesn't scare him. He's not trying to prove anything. He's simply letting his energy speak. That's what makes her curious. That's what makes her linger in the moment. That's what makes her want more. So when you hug her, don't just hold her and retreat quickly. Take that brief, powerful second to look into her eyes with genuine care and calm confidence. That moment, more than the hug itself, is what lingers in her memory long after you've let go. Here's where so many men completely miss the mark. They confuse making a woman feel safe with overwhelming her. They think clinging tighter, holding longer, or drowning her in affection equals protection. But let's call it what it really is: insecurity, disguised as love. Women don't want to feel like you're gripping them for dear life, afraid they'll disappear the second you let go. That doesn't make them feel safe. It makes them feel pressured. And pressure is the fastest way to suffocate attraction. True safety is different. It comes not from force, but from calmness, from the way you breathe steadily, from the control in your frame, from the balance in your touch. A woman feels safe when she senses that you're in control of yourself, when you're not leaning on her for validation, when you're not silently begging her to reassure you with every hug. If you're smothering her, hugging like it's your last chance, holding on like you'll never get another, she feels the desperation underneath. And desperation is not masculine energy. Masculine energy is calm, it's steady. It's the quiet confidence that says, "I don't need to grip you to prove my worth. I'm already enough. Think about it like this. A needy hug communicates fear. A suffocating hug communicates insecurity. But a calm, grounded hug communicates strength. That's the difference between a man who makes her recoil and a man who makes her melt. This is exactly why Stoicism is so attractive. A Stoic man isn't cold or emotionless. He simply doesn't panic when he's close to her. He doesn't clutch desperately because he's centered within himself. He doesn't need her to stabilize his emotions. He's already stable. And because of that, she feels free. She feels safe. She feels like she can relax in your arms instead of tensing up. Imagine this scenario. You're saying goodbye at the end of the night. You pull her in, firm but calm. Your body is steady, your breathing controlled, your energy composed. She knows, without you saying a word, that she's safe in your arms, protected but not trapped, desired but not pressured. That's the kind of hug that makes her want more. Not because you clung to her, but because you didn't need to. Not because you smothered her, but because you gave her space to feel secure. And here's the blunt truth. If you can't control your own insecurity, no hug will ever fix it. She'll always sense the fear underneath. That's why the work starts with you. The man who feels safe within himself is the man who naturally makes her feel safe. When you've mastered that, every hug you give carries a message stronger than words. I'm confident. I'm grounded. I'm in control of myself. And because of that, you can relax here with me. That's when she stops resisting. That's when she stops doubting. That's when she lets herself be drawn closer. Again and again. At the end of the day, the way you hug a woman says far more about you than your words ever could. It's not about the lines you rehearse, the gifts you give, or even the stories you tell. It's about the energy you bring into those subtle, quiet moments that most men completely overlook. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If she doesn't feel more drawn to you after you hug her, it's not her fault. It's yours. Too many men blame women for being confusing, hard to please, or sending mixed signals. But in reality, the problem often comes down to presence, energy, and confidence, or the lack of them. Women don't always analyze it logically. They don't make a checklist in their head. They simply feel it in the moment. And a man who knows how to hug her the right way leaves an impression she can't easily shake off. That's why I've shared these 4 principles with you. Own the moment, not her. Let silence speak louder than words. Use eye contact to create intimacy. Make her feel safe, not smothered. Together, these turn something as ordinary as a hug into something unforgettable. Because the difference between being forgettable and unforgettable isn't in the grand gestures. It's in these small, almost invisible details. So here's my challenge to you. The next time you hug a woman, don't treat it like a throwaway moment. Don't rush. Don't overcompensate. Instead, be fully present. Hold her with calm confidence. Say less. Breathe steadily. And when you release, do it with control. If you do this, she'll walk away, not just remembering that you hugged her. She'll remember how you hugged her. She'll remember how it made her feel safe, desired, and curious about you long after you let go. Now I want to hear from you. What's the biggest mistake you think men make when it comes to hugging women? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you found this breakdown powerful, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Because in the next video, I'm going to reveal the one hidden thing women secretly judge about you before you even open your mouth.